Hi. Now I have an itch on my nose. This is Lou. I know if you're following my channel, you know that. I just always have to say that, I guess. Anyway, today is December 3rd. I don't think I've done a video today. I think I put one on today that was done yesterday. I get a little confused about time because I don't pay attention to it very well. And that's always been a problem with me anyway. But seriously, as the days go by, you know, one day blends into another, and the weeks are blending into each other. And then the years. I know. Just want to remind you people that life goes by in a blink of an eye. When you get closer to the end, you really realize it, you know. You need to take time and enjoy life. Enjoy your family, especially your children and your parents. But you know, when it's your time, when your children are of a certain age, they're all consuming, and you are their whole life. So don't be leaving them behind all the time. Don't think that those people out there, you're just saying, if you fit the category where you're going out, associating with people, because that's what you feel like you ought to do, and you're leaving your child at home. And they need you. They want you. They love you. And they're only going to feel like that for a certain period of time. And then away they go. So just remember, I'm just trying to tell you, there's some things that we forget that is so important. And your children do. They idolize you. And they do need your guidance. You can't let them stay home and have the TV be the babysitter. Especially not knowing what's on that TV. I mean, really. So, I never know what I'm going to say when I get on here. But I bought myself some needles. I almost think I should probably replace the needle on there. But we'll see. It's doing okay so far. And I don't know a lot about needles. I just know that I got a variety pack. So it's got different color coding. Some are finer and sharper, and I don't really know. I think there used to be a thing that had a ballpoint so that it would glide over your pins. If your pins were in the way when you were sewing over them, it would go on past them. Now look at there. Okay, so I bought some needles. And here we have some needles. The needles weren't that expensive, but I figured I probably should get some. Okay, so these just go by 12, 14, 16. I mean, the top part is a number also, but... Okay, so the top number goes up by 10 each time. So a 12, it says 80 on the top, 80, 12. And then it's 90, 14. And then it's 100, 16. But I don't know what that means. Nevertheless, I have 4 needles I had already, and I just so this one has 11. Multi-pack needles anyway. You just don't want to, oh wow, there's a twin needle. So there's so many things I bet my machine will do that I do not have a clue. But that is cool. I've been thinking about that. There's where you get your even top stitching. I've never used one of those. But I do have the book that goes with this machine. There's 3 needles in here too. Sewing machine needles. So that's, it had 7. Organ needle. I don't get that. Anyway, I'd be happy with all that. There's some pressure foots in there I have to learn how to use. But that's neat. I've been thinking about that twin deal. I don't know how you'd use it, but the machine knows. So anyway, in this little pouch that was inside my sewing machine, I'm going to add these, put the needles back that were there, and then add my new ones. And I'll go ahead and... Okay, on the back it says 7511 is lightweight silk. And then the 9014 is medium weight cotton, linen, satin. And the 116 is heavyweight denim, corduroy, tweed. Boy, you gotta be careful sewing with that corduroy. I made a pair of pants for my friend out of corduroy. And I mean, the pants fit her good. They would have looked really great. Except for, I don't know what you call it. It's kind of like a carpet. You rub your hands over a carpet. One way it looks a certain shade, another way it looks a different shade. Well, that's how the corduroy jeans were, or the corduroy pants that I made her. I mean, they would have been beautiful, however, they were not. So, that was a sad, sad situation. No, I just went ahead and left that in that whole big old container. Maybe I should just take it out anyway. See, I left it in it because it gives the, what those needles are good for. So the 16 is the one that's good for thicker stuff, like denim, corduroy. Material that's thick, I imagine, is the deal. I'll be excited this next time when I do bobbins, and so far I'm just about out of my thread. I did find some of Jessie's thread. All right, that's just kind of hurting my finger. Do, 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 do. So anyway, did I get my thread? My thread has been delayed, and here I am depending on my thread. And yes, I did. I found some thread, but it's not the same. But it's okay. I mean, it's not detrimental. Only if you're doing the cozies or doing something that you're going to stick in where there's heat. Because polyester thread will melt. So we don't want that. So here's my little thing of needles. So the bigger the number at the bottom, the 16 is for the heavier weight. Okay, so now this will fit in this little, there's a place that holds this pouch. And you slide this up in there. And then this becomes part of the machine. And then when you need the stuff that's in there, then you take it out again. Plus, you can always take that thing off if you're going to do something that, like a sleeve or a hem on a pair of jeans. Something that's not real big, but it should fit around that arm. If you take this piece off, there's a part of the arm left. Okay, and so then the next thing, I guess I'll wait a second. I'm just going to go throw that away. I got 8 bobbins to go with. I'm not sure what I've got. I probably have 10 bobbins, but one has white thread on it. And yeah, for not that much more, you can buy, I don't even know if it's more. If it's just black or white, black or white thread, you can get pre-wound robins. Okay, I didn't do that well. Pre-wound bobbins. There. I'm going to try to get into this thing. You make it impossible. Okay. So anyway, here before long, I'm going to be threading bobbins. And the more bobbins done, the less I have to thread that needle. Because I have to pull the thread out. I believe I have to pull the thread out unless that's something else I learned. You know, because newer machines. So I'm just going to add this to my little case. I have a case that had bobbins in it. I'm not sure where I got it. Okay. They're all empty, except for one that's white. And I don't want to sew my stuff with white thread because I have not been sewing with white thread. If I have the right material that calls for white, then that would be cool. But for now, for what I'm doing right now, I've decided to just stick with black. Just black. All right, so in my sewing machine is a bobbin, and I don't think I have any more laying around. I gotta clean off my desk. Okay, so 3 times 5 is 15, 16, 17, 18. If you count the one in the machine, I have 18 bobbins. But one is also, like I said, full of white thread. So when this bobbin runs out, if it lasts, I don't want to take that thing off. I'm going to show you my thread. On my spool, it's down to the last nubbins. It's you can see the core. You know, kind of like a toilet paper roll, except for it's real thick and hard, and it's in the middle of that spool. So I don't know how much thread that is that I have left, but you can start to see the back. You can start to see the core. So it's getting down to nothings. But what I'm doing at this moment is I'm putting a row together, which I did. I put it together. I have bound it, and now I'm attaching it to what I already had. Now, I was not going to go that much further, but it just seems like I guess I should. So that's what I'm doing. In other words, I looked up lap blankets, and the measurements for the lap blankets ranges. It ranges by person, you know, if they are tall, or if they're a child, or if they're in a wheelchair. because you want the ones for the wheelchair to be smaller so they don't get caught up in things. You know, you just want to cover the lap and the top of their legs, I guess. They said an average one, a small one is 30 by 40. And my lap blanket that I'm working on right now was a 30, but I'm going to add, it's going to be a 36 or a 42. Now, my daughter wanted 2 more added to it, so, I mean, if it was for her. She just wants to be able to move around. But someone stuck in a wheelchair is not going to be moving around very much. So I'm just saying there's different. They said you could do square ones, like 36 by 36. Maybe even 42 by 42. And with my squares being 6 inches, that's what it would be, is either 36 or 42. So 3 foot or 3.5 foot, I guess is what that would be, right? I don't really know. I lose my math as I'm going. But the point is, it's really going to be neato because they're pretty, and I can do that, and it will help your older people to be warmer. And I don't know if they're in a condition where they can even tell you, you know, how they're feeling, because sometimes they're not even thinking about that. But it is true. I had my little lap blanket on me because I was sewing on it. And so I had it laying over my lap. And then when I picked that up to do something else to it, boy, there was a chill down there. I'm going, oh my. So I couldn't wait to get it back on me. And that was with it not being that big. Now, it's not all that big now, but I'm adding to it. So I have decided for this particular one, because I put a kitty, I put a square that's got kitties. And it ended up being smack in the middle. Perfect. Where it was. It was, well, yeah, with the 7, it was smack in the middle, but it's going to be 8. And what I'm talking about is those squares, the 6-inch squares. I'd have to show you. But it was beautiful like it was. And I don't know what size I need for babies, because that's another thing to think about. It's just little baby throws. Beautiful quilt. Lay on the baby. Or even on the floor for the baby to crawl on, you know. And they might, you know, get off on the colors if you choose a bunch of bright colors. But you don't have to have bright colors. You do not have to have the colors that I have. I just think they turned out great, though. I like them. Okay, I got to throw this trash away out of my hand, and then I'll show you where I'm at on my lap blanket. And I just think it's a wonderful idea, and there's really a market for it if you can just get to the, just need to get to the people that have parents that are needing. But then you've also got sitting on the couch needing it for yourself, or sitting at your desk. You don't want to have the heat going crazy, you know, trying to heat up a whole house when it's just you right here. I'm talking about me, but I could lay that lap blanket on my legs right now and it will have me toasty. So that's been the dilemma, is finding the right sizes. And so I looked it up. On the Safari is what I have, but same. So 36 by 36, 42 by 42, 36 by 48. So that's 3 foot by 4 foot. Those are easier for me to be able to produce, and probably easier for the person to be able to pay for. And then the quilt tops, or I mean the quilt. That quilt is 60 inches by 78. But really what it boils down to is it is 5 feet wide and 6 foot 6 inches long. I believe it's enough that it will cover a bed. I'm not sure, but I think it'll cover the top of the bed, side to side, top to bottom. So I would suggest getting it like a chenille bedspread. Put on your bed and then just lay this quilt top on top. Be beautiful. Plus, it's an added layer of warmth. I have bound this quilt, so it is done. And I did look up blankets, and the biggest one they showed was 60 inches wide by 80 inches long. So mine is 60 inches wide by 78. I'd say that's pretty doggone close. I don't really want to add another piece to it, and it's too late now because I have bound it. I said, okay, getting it ready for a picture. Hopefully maybe we'll auction it off. I don't know if it'll be an auction. It won't be an auction. However, that's always an idea too. But I mean, I need to go look and see if I have my eBay store still. Somebody out there, you know, look up Lou's Touch. LOU' space TOUCH. Do that on eBay. See if I still have a store. I haven't been there in years, but I did try to sell some stuff on there before. I started to tell you guys about that earlier. I had made some gift sets up and put on there. Amazing. But that would be cool. I heard someone the other day say that, you know, they finished a quilt and it was off to their eBay store. So I imagine that meant taking pictures, putting the dimensions there and everything, electronic information on eBay. And then you put it, I don't remember, but there's a way to have it be an auction. And you can have it be a 30-day auction. You can have it be a 3-day or whatever. I'm not really sure, but and you can have a reserve. So once they hit that reserve, whoever gets the highest bid gets it. And I like that. But I haven't sold for Amazon, and really I only did a little teeny bit on eBay, so not enough to really say I did. However, you can have a store on eBay and have it not cost you until you start selling. So once you're selling, you know, it's okay to give them some money, right? They get a cut. But you wouldn't be selling with that ability to reach the world as eBay has on your own. So I don't know. I gotta figure that out. I need to see about my eBay store. But in the meantime, I do have my channel. And I do have a Cash App where you can pay me. And I can ship it to you. And my email address, I think, is on there, but little letters, MLP 54 at iCloud.com. If you have an interest, let me know. Okay, so I have like this little bit of thread in there. And I wanna do this. It felt really good where it was. And you guys haven't seen it on this video. Okay, well look, this is the back of this particular one. And this will be, because I'm joining this row. This right here, I'm pinning right now so that I can join it. and then I will bind it like I've done the others. And that's going to make this 4 feet long, 48 inches long. And I think that that's a good thing. So 3 foot is 36 inches, which is just going to be one more row added to what I've got. And the only problem with that is I put the kitty right smack in the middle. So if I'm going to add to one side, I probably, if I keep that in mind, then I need to add to both sides so it can stay in the middle. But you know what? It doesn't have to be in the middle. But for right now, can you see the kitties? You have to make the screen bigger. This one right here has kitties. Okay, that's flowers. But anyway, it's just lovely. It's just lovely. And it wraps around your legs. And see, that's without me adding that row. This is 30 inches. And they did say that some lap blankets can be 30 inches wide. And that might be because of a wheelchair. But nevertheless, you don't want it too big in a wheelchair because it could get all tangled up and stuff. And yeah, the other day I had it in my lap and I only had 1.5 feet done. Long. And it was keeping me toasty and it hadn't even gotten to my legs. You know what I mean? It was in my lap. So that's a lap blanket. So 36 inches, I wonder. That would do your lap and your knees probably. So that would be sufficient. Okay, I've got it on here. I've got to turn it. Da, 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 da. Now, I know, I'm not teaching, but I am. If you were doing this, you want to, I'm getting this thing in the way. You don't want it in the way either because I got to pin it. Want my pins to go in a certain direction. I told you guys that before. You want it to go in the direction where you're going to come sewing towards your pins that are sticking that way. But right now I just need to sew these together, this row to this row. And I've got it pretty much pinned. See, then once I do this, I will be having to bind it. But I do love it. It's pretty neato. Now I gotta try to get myself here. Get my chair up here, you know. Okay, how do I want to do this? It is. I mean, I don't have the blanket on me now, and it's chilly down there. That's a good discovery. You know, to help those who are in need of that. Staying warm. I don't know if I'm going to get this part right. Okay. Alrighty then. We're going to come here and pull this close. I was correct because I am not pinning to, what am I trying to say? Bind. There's a word, to bind. That's kind of like that word sealing families together, to bind us together, so that not even death can tear you apart. But I don't know. It's a great idea anyway. All right, I need my pen cushion. I need to bring this over. So I could have left my little blanket like it was, and I can continue to add and make it big. But I think I like the idea of lap blankets. And that's the same thing. Just make it a little bit bigger all around. Be the same thing as your individual throw on the couch. Not meant to be on the bed. Not meant to be huge. Okay, let's do good. I guess I put you down there. So I'm going to have to put you over there. So this seam that you're doing right now is what's going to be your binding. So you do want to go as close as you can to the square that you added to this, because your backing is 2 inches bigger than the front and also bigger than the batting. But you need to get right down there by it, because you're going to flap that seam over and you don't want it to be all floppy, because it'll make it flimsy in areas where you don't want it. Ow. I do need to get some good nutritional. I need to get a hold of Boomer Boost. Boomer's Forever Young. Look them up. I really need to do that. See, we need to build up our tissue. Which is everything. Everything, I guess, is tissue, wouldn't you think? Meaning even your bones, stuff like that. Are you being able to see what I'm doing? Ouch, that kind of... Okay, let's fix that. There's a problem here. All right. Do, 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 do. Yeah, I wished I'd had a brainstorm like this a long time ago. So what I'm going to have to do is just get what I got to get done for my holiday season. And then I'm just going to have to market it. Sew them and market them. Movement right over that needle, probably. I don't think you could see me doing anything, but over here with that, the little circular thing that makes the needle go up and down. That hurt my wrist the other day. Yeah, there's nifty things, I think, with the new machines. Don't know what to say that they are right this minute. You know, like automatic thread cutters, and I don't know. Like me, I got to hold on to these strings, but I have learned to just pull them and pull them. They said to make sure you have at least 6 inches. I think I read that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and shut that light off on my machine. Move it. Yeah, that works. All right, so I have added a row. And before I added this row, I had gone into the other room and laid out some blocks to put down along the side, because I'm going to add a row to the side. But I had to go ahead and add to the bottom in order to be able to add what I put together for the side. I had to add another row to the bottom, to the tail end of this project. Okay. Anyway, I can't wait to get those other needles, and I sure hope they're stronger than these, because these are pretty flimsy. So anyway, these intersections are a good thing. I saw where someone made 24398 said 39 homes just dropped in Lansdale. Explore fast. Link to FCLAC. Reply stop to unsubscribe. I need to go and talk to a real estate agent. And actually, I need to go talk to a bank. There's ideas. That is an idea. Okay. Okay. Da 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 dum. Hey, hey, you're so far away. Hey. Now with this lap blanket, right now, there's only 5 blocks going across. I'm calling them a block because I added things together to make it, not just a piece of material. So I just cut me, stab me with a pin. Anyway, I do really like how they go together. I started to say remind you of Legos, but I don't know if Legos go together like that. I'm going to get rid of that. When my pins are all bent out of whack, I don't need them. So what was I going to say? Ow! Okay. So with it being this long, I can just sew all the way to the end and then cut the threads and go back and start again. And the reason I say that is because I'm adding a row to the end. Ow. And if I keep it to where I'm just using this end part going through the machine, the rest of it's off to the side. That's why. I'm trying to make my pins go in the right direction. When I'm just doing 2 squares together, making my block that way. What was I going to say about that? Oh, it's such a short distance. So I twist the material back and forth to get the pins going in opposite directions, because then I can go all the way down, sew across, and can go all the way back over in one swipe. And I don't want to have to worry, like I've told you before. I just don't want to be threading. Excuse me. I don't want to thread the needle unless I have to. And I know there's probably an easier way. Okay, I've got heartburn. Probably these Cheez-Its, huh? I think so. Certain things will give me heartburn. Like a donut. Donuts will give me heartburn. Mmm. Ah, okay. But no. Okay, so can you see what I'm doing? I should be facing you. So I'm calling these intersections when one material meets another. And with those intersections, it does make it easier to keep this straight. That's not necessarily the right word, but what I'm trying to say is, if you go from the beginning to the end, it's easier to get twisted up, to get your material to twist up and not look right. I definitely would like my needles. Pens, they're pens. I had one in my cart that had 400 pens. And I think I found one that had 1,000 pens for the same price. And none of them said, of course I wasn't looking for titanium, that's for the blades. What is it I want? Since I have, oh, steel. I think the word is steel. But they're really sharp, they stay sharp. The person was showing how she had layers and layers of denim. You know, a lot of layers of denim. And she was just sticking that needle up through it like nothing. It just was just lickety split. So then, you know, that makes it sharp, and then it's not gonna, well, I started to say not gonna bend, because I would like to get still sewing needles and stick pins, or at least stronger than what I've got stick pins, because they are not strong. Okay. This will be the last, I mean, I should never say that. This will be the last row on the length, unless I decide to just keep going and making it a blanket. I mean, I don't have to stop and say, okay, it's just going to be this size. I could just keep adding. Like the quilt I just finished. I need to go put it in the dryer and have it get all the strings and the furry things off of it. And also I could put in a dryer sheet, make it smell good. It doesn't smell bad, I'm just saying. That would be cool, right? Yeah, so now I've got Metallica playing in my head. For whom the bell tolls, time marches by. I think. See, it has to do with what I be thinking. Time is just getting away from us. I can hear the drums. Dum da da dum, dum da da dum. For whom the bell tolls. Okay, now. We'll go back over here to this side and start. Time marches by. Da 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 dum, da 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 dum. For whom the bell tolls. All right, I'm going to try to. So I'm going to go ahead and have the pins go in the same direction because I'm going to just cut the strings and go back to the beginning and start over. So the pins will be facing the way they need to face. So I know I probably was in the middle of telling you something earlier and then I skidded around. What was it I was telling them? Oh, I've lost it again. It'll come back. Anyway, I know I was telling you that I had the kitties smack in the middle. And I want them to stay smack in the middle. And I'm fixing to add a row to one side. And when I do that, the kitties will not be in the middle anymore. So, hence my dilemma. Do I leave them in the middle and add to both sides? Or do I just add to one side? Time marches by. Some might even say it's not marching, it's on a trot. You know, maybe it's not a full-fledged jog or run, but it's gathering up speed. Now ask me what I was talking about. I'm pretty sure I'm talking about time marches by. So marching is one thing, running is another. And as you get older, it just seems like it goes faster and faster. Do, 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 do. For whom the bell tolls. Yeah, we waste a lot of our time. I am notorious, or I was notorious. Definitely depends on what you consider wasting time. But wasting time with the wrong people. You know, out there, I'm talking to myself, but it's a little late to do anything about it. I'm just trying to say, people, realize that your children are the most important thing there is. Your children and your parents. And of course, your mate, if you have one of those, if you're lucky enough to have one of those, you need to treat it right. Because, you know, if you stop and look, when you're in a situation where you don't have somebody, you're out looking for somebody. Time marches by. Marches on, I think is what it says. Yeah, Metallica was big when my daughter was a teenager. Head-banging music. Stimulating some loss of brain cells. Not good to shake your head like that. I like a lot of Metallica's stuff, but I mean, I didn't follow them for years, but during that session where my daughter was into that, For Whom the Bell Tolls, and is Sandman one, or is that the same? Strings everywhere. I'm almost done penning it. Then the next thing I will be sewing it. And then the next thing, I will go put it down on the bed and add that other row to it. I've got a row sitting in there waiting. I've got to bind it. I mean, it's been sewn together. It's a row that's going to go on the side. But that row hasn't been bound on the inside yet. Meaning this material right here where it's sewn on either side. Now, I am sweating. I've got this door shut and the heat. I mean, it's really good, but I shut the door because of the noise. And when they're home and watching TV, they don't want my noise either. And you can hear the TV up here too. So when I'm trying to do a video, I don't want the noise from the TV. Okay, I have it pinned together. I gotta get this shirt off because I'm sweating to death. So I guess really what I should do is open the door. Da, 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 da. Okay, so this last row, this top one, I just pinned. You can probably see all the metal, the shiny. All right, so let's pull this back. So this is going to be 48 inches. You probably can see that. Anyway, it's 8 of these 6-inch squares. And then I've got 5 going across, which really, in some instances, is enough. But I'm going to add, I think in the future, I'll do 6 across. 6 across and 8 long, which will give us 36. It'll give us 3 foot by 4 foot, which is perfect. Might be too big in some instances. Oh my gosh, I'm hot. Okay. See, if I open this door, I'm going to get cold pretty quick. So that's pretty neato. I think that's groovy. And so far, you know, I can see, okay, well, let's just keep adding and adding and adding. You know what I mean? But I see a need. My dad, after my mother died, from what I understand, he never went back to the bedroom to sleep. He slept in the recliner the rest of his days. I couldn't get him to move to a bed, which would have been a lot better, because you get, you know, it's just like in a bed they get bed sores while sitting in a chair. Your butt gets some sores going on. Anyway, just saying. I can see that there's a need, and I can see that that is beautiful. I really like it. For whom the bell tolls. Well, I have cleaned up some things out of here, but okay, let's get up here closer. Okay, itch my face. Pull this sewing machine back. And let's see, you can look over there. I don't know if you can see anything. I've kind of got this all twisted around. We can see a little bit. All right, so I think what I'm going to do, as long as my thread holds out, I'm going to sew what I just pinned. And then all those rows will be sewn except for the binding around the outside. Except for that's not true, because I'm going to add a row. I've got a row waiting in there for me to, maybe that's what I should go do, get that. So far I'll stick to those pins over there. For whom the bell tolls. Okay, 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 I'll do it. I can't add that row that's in the bedroom waiting, and it's not really waiting until I bind it, but then it'll fit all the way down one side. Okay, hold the strings. La 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 la. Are you able to see anything? You know, I really should move that box, but I don't know how to go about doing all that. There, okay. All right, we don't want to get stuck here. We want to pull it closer. For whom the bell tolls. Yeah, I haven't been listening to some of my music lately. I need to go back and listen to some of my songs. So then I'll be singing them to you. Like Georgia. Wrap me up in all your, I want you. Do, do, do. Yeah, groovy. Not kidding you. Not bad, not bad. I love the idea that it's quilted, it's done. And I did see, because I've been watching tutorials, I did see a lady do a quilt as you go that does not need any sashing and doesn't need like what I'm doing, where it's encased like that. You still encase it, but you don't have to do what I'm doing, where each square has its frame. You don't have to do that. And I do think that's part of what's wrong with my wrist. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, I'll have to get those words again. Georgia, wrap me up in armor. I want you in my arms, oh let me hold you. I've got some of those words wrong. I'll never let you go again like I did before. I said, let's see. I'll never fall in love unless it's you I fall into. I was lost within the darkness, but then I found her, I found you. And the girl sings, heaven. And then I don't know the rest of it. When I was in your arms again or something. And then she said, how could we ever just be friends? I'm Juliet to your Romeo. I'd rather die than let you go. I can remember you saying, I will never fall in love again until I'm gonna cry, found her. Never fall in love unless it's you I fall into. I was lost within the darkness, but then I found her, I found you. So I don't know how to put it all together and what ends what. The heaven part I don't got. I mean, I know the words, but I don't know the sequence, I guess. Do do da 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 da. Okay, so under normal circumstances, if you can see what I'm doing, I'm at the end of the row. I would pick up, I would pick up the thingy-mabobber and I'd turn it around and I would sew across and then head that way, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is cut the thread so that I can start over up there. Do 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 do. Da, 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 da. That way the material, the heavy part, is out there. And the part I'm sewing on, there's very little of it underneath the machine. Let's see, what do we got going on here? Do, 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 do. Okay, so we're gonna start again with the other side. I bet Shay's here. Maybe. Whoops. Come on, keep going. Yeah, I heard the door open. I'm sure it's time for Shay Bear to be home from school. Do, do, do. Okay, I've done one, one square. Four to go. You are falling down. Do, 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 do. I saw a video where the woman was quilting, had a pair of rubber gloves on. She was talking something about slipping. I don't know what she meant by that, but I can see that I put a lot of pressure sometimes when maybe that's what she's talking about. Whereas with the rubber gloves, and you put pressure, it would move things along. It would grab the material. So I think that's what she meant. Ouch. Do 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 do. Do, 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 do. Okay, stop. I'm on my last one. In other words, binding the last one on this row. So I can go get that other one attached. But I can't attach it until I bind those. Okay, gotta cut it. Gotta cut the thread. Yep. That part is done. And after I add this next row, I'll decide if I'm going to add another one. If I add the one and don't add another one, then my kitties will not be in the middle. They'll be one over. Okay. So this is 4 feet. just putting it to the floor. Just putting it to the floor. My feet are flat on the floor. It comes clear up to here. You know how many times we already got our other outer clothes. We just want something to be warm. So this will work for any of us. And then, like the tall guys, I'm sure it'll work for them too. Excuse me. Pardon me. All right. I'm excited. So I'm going to add one more row. But you know what? It's okay if my kitties are on the side. Because one more row will be 36 inches, 3 feet. So 3 feet by 4 feet is really quite perfect, I think. Now, if it was big enough for what my daughter wanted, I would go ahead and do one on each side. I'm not sure how big she wants. And see, I'm gauging all this stuff because I'm excited. I like this plan. And I do think that it's okay. That as long as it feels good and looks good, then I like it. It's not perfect. Just remember, the beauty of homemade is it's not perfect. What do you mean by that? I imagine the more I do, the better I'll get. But for this very moment, I think I'm doing great. So, I guess I could, no. I was going to say, I've got to take this blanket into the other room and then line it up with that row. But I don't need to line it up yet. What I got to do is just bind that, and then I'll line it up. So, this has probably been good enough. I'll just be sharing some stuff that's going on. And I do think it's a really great idea. Super great idea. And I don't know how many people are trying to buy things for their older folks. You know, in a nursing home, everybody's got a twin size bed. So something cheery that would fit across a twin size bed would be lovely. So 50 inches, 60 inches is 5 feet. And I'm just curious. I want to take a measurement. And I know, just get online. I want to know how wide a twin bed is. Because you do want it to drape over a little bit, but it doesn't have to drape over a lot. Like I said, you have your regular bedspread, and then you have the my pretty thing on top. Anyway, and then also just have their lap blanket that I'm fixing to make that they can wear with them. Then at night when they go to bed, they can put it back on their bed. You know what I mean? If they wanted to. It could just be like a little kid's blanket. I want my blankie. My beautiful blankie that Mary Lou made. Okay. Well, listen, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to go get after this rest of this lap blanket. It's a lap blanket. And so right now it's 30 inches wide. It's going to be 36. It's going to be 3 foot by 4 foot. And I know I already said that, but I think that is perfect for certain things. Not for my daughter. She's gonna, if it was for her, if this was for her, which she's got a whole bunch of different colors chosen, she would want it bigger. She would want 7 across, so she would want 42 inches wide. And probably longer than the 48 inches. Maybe she would want 42 inches wide by 5 feet long. 42 by 60. Something similar to that. It's got to fit into the measurements. 6-inch squares. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 10 is 60, 5 feet. But I have to go in 6-inch increments. So anyway, you guys take care. Hope that you're having fun. And I know, just like beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, so is fun, right? I'm not necessarily having fun, but I do like creating. And I like the fact that I'm able to, because I haven't always been able to. You're kind of stifled by your circumstances, you know. I mean, no matter how much you want to dream, if you don't have the money to do anything about it, you know, that's a sad, sad thing. I'm just looking back in time from when I first began my journey away from home. And really, I could say thank you to my mama, except for she's on the other side. But she must have been a guiding light, you know, in a lot of ways. She had to have bought material. She had to have bought the material that I used to make those dresses. I mean, so she had to have been encouraging me. You know what I'm saying? So that's a great thing. Encourage your youth. And really, I need to learn, I need to figure out how to teach some classes, just some little beginner classes. And that doesn't have to be just for children, because we're all children, and some of us didn't get the opportunity to learn that particular skill. And it's not that hard, as long as you got someone who will take care of the machine when you mess up. In other words, a machine has to be oiled and cleaned every so often, and I've never done that. And I can tell, I mean, there's lint and there's string and there's all kinds of stuff. But this machine will do a lot more than I know what it'll do. It's got that double needle. So that is trip. I'll have to put this on and see if I can see anything like that. It's got a diagram of all these. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. All this. Anyway, I can't tell what they are. There's buttonholes though. There's just some different decorative stitches. Computerized sewing. Anyway, like I said, it'll do things that I don't know how to do. I have to get the book out and do some studying. I am excited though. And so far it's working. So we're going to hope and pray that it continues to work. And then I need to keep cleaning out this room. There's things in here that don't need to be in here. You know, like I have 3 sewing machines in here. One of them is Jesse's, so we could take that downstairs. And then the other one I can put back in the box. At least it would take less room. And because I'm going to use this one. So, you live and you learn. Okay, good. But I do love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so push that back. I have to go in the other room and attach that other. I can't attach it. I got to go bind it. I guess I could go bring it in here and bind it. You guys hold on for a second and I'll do that. Well, we're going to do this. We'll use. Hi, people. I forgot I had you on pause. I'd be over here talking to you like you were still recording. And what I've done while I was talking to you was I have pent. In other words, this row. I made a row that goes with what I already had, so that once this is all bound, I can lay it next to it. And my squares will be solid print, solid print, solid print. And they'll go good together. then I'll have to sew it on. So what I just did was only, excuse me, it only had 5 squares across, so it was pretty quick. This one has 8 squares. It's not that much bigger. So when I added that 5 squares to the middle, it gave that section, that whole section has 8 squares. So when I finish binding this, I'll have 8 squares to add to it. So then I'll have 6 by 8. And my kitties will be off to the side a little bit, unless I do a row on each side, which I could do. Just makes it a little bigger. But that would put it at 42 by 48 instead of 36 by 48. I like the 36 by 48 better. But we'll see. We'll see how big it is. But right now, this is an 8. In other words, it has 8 squares. And if I was going to do one like that on both sides, then I still have to do another one. But I'm just going to go ahead and start seeing if I can bind this. Go as far as my thread will let me go. I guess I'm going to have to go find some thread, but I did. I found a little bit. I have to keep remembering it's a smaller spool. I don't know how long it'll last, but at least it's something. She's got white thread, but I want black. Ouch. Do, do. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Okay. Can you see anything? I kind of got the sewing machine in the way. Okay, I'm just going to do these little bindings because it's just going across one square. And then it'll cross over at the end and do the other square. Do 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 do. Okay. I have to be careful. I'll be sticking myself with these pins. I'm sure you guys have seen me do that. Do, 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 da, da, dum, da, da, dum. I'm hungry for your touch. Da, da, do, do. This is a song from Ghost. Okay, now I'm going to cut these threads over here. And then I'm going to lift up this pressure foot. Now here's the deal. I'm going to roll this up. I got to pull my needle up out of there. Release that thread. Then I'm just going to roll this up. Try to get back down here to where my next binding thing is. There it is. Okay, now let's see. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do.
Maybe send a long message.
Oh. I know. I know, I do. I do. That was my insurance agent. And she has been really good. Really good. I'm talking about Medicare. And making sure that you have the best plan that you need. She has a license to write up people in a lot of different states, not all of them. But this is one where she can. Unless I don't know, I got to talk to her because we've had me out of Colorado, I think. Tell her that. And then there's somebody else, but I keep forgetting. I need to get a hold of Progressive. Because I paid for my complete 6 months, but I'm afraid that they're not counting that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know there's got to be more. Let me see here. Where's another one? Yeah, right there. Da 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 da. So yeah, she's been good to me. She's taken care of me. Okay, so we're going to pull up our string and let it become disengaged. Pull it. Do, do, do. I have just one more on this row. I have one more to bind. Be careful because you definitely can stab yourself pretty good. Do, do, do. Do. I'll just have to see what I think when I get done with this, because I don't know. We'll be customizing for people, you know. Some will want it not so long and others will. I think Jessica said she is one of the ones that likes to cover her head. It's got one little strip to do, and I can go put it with that blanket. Okay, that's already done. La 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 la. All right, I gotta have some food. What I got going on is heartburn. I think I'll get me a little bit of peanut butter. Ouch. My poor bones. What a heartburn, man. Okay, here we go. On the tail end. Da 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 da. Okay. I know. I should just really turn you over here. I'm gonna go attach this to that other piece. So I'm gonna let you guys go. It's been what? Oh my, way too long. Take care, people. Bye.